Welcome to the Live Connection podcast, number 27. 27, if you were wondering what that number actually is, look up the Pokemon Sandshrew and look at its number, and that is the number of this podcast.
What an enticing intro.
The best part about that is you started cracking up immediately as you started saying you're like, oh, this is so funny.
The second best part about that is the amount of research we went into making that joke, and then that's how you delivered it.
My name is Evan. I'm joined with Jarrod, Matt, Jack, and Peter behind the screen, but he has a camera, as I can see from over here.
I literally have Sandshrews like Pokemon entry on Bulbapedia pulled up right now, just so Evan could do that intro.
Yeah,
So,
Why don't you give us a little info? Why don't you tell us about
Sandshrew?
Sandshrew?
Yeah, absolutely. What
The
game do you want?
Rock and ground type Pokemon.
It's only ground
Just
type.
ground.
That
Yeah.
ground type Pokemon.
They didn't have double combos in first gen.
Let's see.
Yes,
but
they did. They definitely did.
No, they
So,
didn't.
what Pokedex entry from like what game do you want the Pokedex?
Well, it
entry from?
depends, because if you do anything pre-Gen 7, it'll be original Sandshrew, but if you do the Gen 7 one, it's going to be Alolan Sandshrew, who is in fact Ice and Steel.
Ew.
Right. So,
So we're all wrong.
So Emerald is
actually-
my favorite Pokemon game, so I'm going to
Okay.
do Emerald because I don't need Matt's life story before I tell you about Sandshrew.
Dude, Emerald? I got Emerald for my birthday the year that we moved to Canada. Emerald to this day is like one of my favorite games. I play
Really?
a randomizer.
Emerald is one of my favorite games as well. Yeah, it's definitely my favorite Pokemon game. Well, it's might be tied with like Blue Rescue Team.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, actually, I'm sorry.
Anyways, when it curls up in a ball, it can make any attack bounce off harmlessly. Its hide has turned tough and solid as a result of living in the desert.
I would go into the Pokemon League and tell it just to roll up in a ball. And then it would effortlessly,
Use defense curl.
effortlessly, it would exhaust the other Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh, I would bring it on a bank heist and then like roll it down the hallway as the police start to shoot at me, and then get away with like all the
Hide
money,
behind it.
and then I
Gosh.
then like buzz it into my Pokeball, and then Sandshrew and I are millionaires.
That's some high stakes bowling right there.
Think about it: if you were the only person in the world with like a Pokemon, like you would be a god.
Yeah.
Like,
You have a
what's,
deadly weapon.
Yeah, you do.
Even if it was like Rattata.
what's someone gonna do against the rabies Pokemon?
Yeah, I guess it would depend on like what Pokemon, because if you had Gengar, if you were the only human being in the world that had a Gengar, you would probably turn into a serial killer. Because Gengar, like even in its more recent Pokedex entries, it's like if you feel a sudden chill and you feel eyes on you, it's too late. Don't even try to run. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some of those Pokedex entries for Pokemon are pretty bad. Like the Pokemon like will kill you, but then that never happens. in the
Literally
game.
word
Yeah.
for word.
Well, so Gen 7, they would like really double down on like brutal Pokedex entries and like making the Pokemon seem more horrifying or make it seem a bit more real. And then I noticed in Pokemon Sword and Shield, they really rolled that back. It's a lot more just like, this is a thing about the Pokemon.
Pokemon. The
Just like-
Pokemon.
That's what I wanted to know. A thing about the
Hey,
Pokemon.
speaking of Pokemon, how's the new Pokemon game, guys? Let's get that out of the way right quick.
Okay.
Because
Sorry.
we won't limit you to 5 minutes this time. I know it's on your mind. I know you want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can say some words if you like.
Does he have 5 minutes or more?
I mean,
or?
I said I wouldn't limit him to 5 minutes, but I guess it's not just the Jack show. So
Well, honestly, I wasn't really planning on bringing it up today. I think like I would if I were to spend a lot of time talking about my impressions, I'd probably like play the game to completion and then do it. But it's been really, really good so far. It's been like the stream was like an amazingly fun time. I feel like the stream really encapsulated like what makes playing Pokemon super fun, because like especially in the last couple hours of the stream, we all stopped progressing in our game and we're just grinding out max raid battles one after the other, and it was just a great time. So it's been really, really good. I've only got 6 gym badges right now, so
Only 6.
well, I mean, that would imply that you're kind of further in the game, but it kind of felt like it took forever to get the first gym badge, and then the second it took like a decent while, the third took a decent while, and then after that it was like boom, 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 boom. So
Yeah, but you're still probably like 20 hours in.
I was gonna look at my playtime before we started, but I forgot, so I'll do that later.
So
but,
where in the story is everyone? Or I guess just Matt I guess Matt just said it, but Evan.
I'm exactly pretty much where I was at the end of the stream. I haven't gotten a chance to play the game much. Actually, I haven't really, like, the stream was pretty unique for me because like I don't think I've ever actually played a game as long as I have on that day. Even through my youth, I think I'd never like play a game for 15 hours straight like we did. I felt like I was hungover yesterday because I was playing that game for so long, and I woke up and I was just like, oh my god, I don't know what my life is right now.
Yeah.
And I was exhausted the whole day yesterday.
Yeah,
I still feel tired.
I've been exhausted this whole weekend too. I mean, it's partially compiled with the fact that like I'm supposed to go to sleep, but I kind of just can't stop playing. But
So literally the opposite problem what you had.
well, no,
Yeah,
but
then if you're only on gyms, like I have 15 hours and I'm on gym 3, and if you haven't stopped playing, if you played all day yesterday, right?
No, I didn't play all day yesterday. I slept until like 1 o'clock
And
yesterday.
then you played, right?
You probably played like 8 hours.
I definitely played a fair amount of
Yeah.
time yesterday.
So I think that in itself just shows that the game is a lot bigger than people were expecting it to be, because that's assuming 15 hours plus another 8. That's almost a whole day of playtime, and he hasn't even hit the Elite Four yet.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
I feel like that's kind of unheard of for a Pokemon game.
I wonder. I'm gonna Google how long it takes. Which game should I do? How long to beat?
do Emeralds
long
because
to
Mitch and I have definitely gotten really close in a night to doing it.
I think Diamond and Pearl might be one of the longer ones.
yeah,
Black and White might actually be pretty long too.
it's hard to say. I don't really remember. Gen 3, you can definitely beat in like a really short period of time. I remember being surprised at how quickly you can steamroll Gen 3 if you have the right stuff.
For Emerald, it says main story is 30 and a half hours.
That is
Oh,
not
seems
true.
very long.
Because me and Mitch definitely got to like the Elite Four.
But I mean, Emerald is probably longer than like Sapphire and Ruby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, only a smidge
no,
though.
but
They don't change a
it
whole
was
lot about
Emerald
the
that we
story.
did it with.
Yeah, that's a
Diamond
big-
and Pearl is 40 hours.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe.
Well, one thing I just realized, like, not long after I said it, is like, you know, we kind of agreed, like, it took us forever to get to the first gym, and then it took us a while to get to the second gym and the third gym, and then for me after that, it was a bit of a like, you know, a land. What's the right word? Like they come all at once.
A landslide.
Well, not really, because that's like that would. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Like I did them a bunch one after the other.
Consecutive?
Yeah,
She did
I
them
guess maybe.
consecutively?
Sure. Anyways.
So shortly, consecutively.
But
Cumulative? I mean, that doesn't really work in that
yeah, but
context,
it's more of like an expressive word. Like I wanted to say like landslide or like landfall or crestfall, but I'm pretty sure to be crestfallen is to
Knocking
be like
them
really
down.
upset about.
That is
something.
correct.
Yeah, so that's why I got caught up. But I realized like we were playing the wild area a bunch between those first few gyms, especially going out before the first gym, because you go through the wild area to get even to the town that's before the first gym, right? So like,
Yeah, but I feel like there's still a lot of battles that take place, and you level up. Like this, the leveling up feels slow.
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like the only reason why I'm the levels I am is because I use like all my candies on my Pokemon.
Yeah.
I used a bunch of larges on one, and my Pokemon went from like level 30 to almost level 50. I was like, uh-oh.
So the EXP. Oh, sorry,
I
Jack.
have a question. Is Sandshrew in this game, or did he get excluded this
I think
time?
Shanshu's not in the game.
Yeah, I haven't,
I haven't
seen him
seen
so
any.
far.
There's
So
some
it's the Sandshrew episode, and we're talking about the game that doesn't even have Sandshrew.
There's some pretty questionable Pokemon that made it in that I'm just like, oh, I wish Dunsparce made it in.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the intention behind excluding some Pokemon, but then, I mean, the fact that they included over 50% of the Pokemon from Generation 5 is a bit weird, because, like, Generation 5 had some amazing designs and some not so good designs, and it's the not so good designs that seem to have actually gotten a lot in. Like, people use...
I saw the ice cream Pokemon is in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, vanilla.
Yeah, the ice cream evolution line. The one that gets me is like the Pokemon that always gets ragged on as the epitome of just a bad Pokemon design are
Voltorb.
Trubbish and Garbodor. Voltorb, really?
It's a ball.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Voltorb's a good counter argument, because if people say that Pokemon designs are going down, you remind them that Voltorb is from Generation 1.
It's a ball.
Yeah, but they designed the Pokeball themselves. You know?
Yeah.
The Pokeball wasn't a thing before Pokemon. So they had to design the Pokeball, and then they're like, well, why not make a Pokemon off of it? So technically, It is a unique
It's a
design.
two-in-one
Is that really
deal.
what Voltorb's supposed to look like?
Yeah,
though, or is it just
yeah, because
coincidental?
he's supposed to be like they do it in the whole Pokemon game. Is like you might pick up a
Yeah,
a
I mean,
Voltorb
sometimes when you
accidentally.
pick one up, it turns out to be a Voltorb or something like that. But
Yeah.
I think that's what their intention.
Yeah,
is.
I think that they just use that as a game mechanic, basically.
you go.
But no, the Pokemon I was gonna say were Trubbish and Garbodor, the big trash bag Pokemon.
Yeah.
People literally use it as like the epitome of just like terrible Pokemon design, and those guys got it. And same as
But
I
Maractus.
think
But they're actually
the-
fairly well designed, though.
I
Yeah.
think the moon-faced Meowth is my least favorite Pokemon ever.
Moon-faced Meowth, like
The
Alolan.
Alolan
A
version.
Alolan
Yeah.
Meowth and
The one with the
version.
beard?
Okay,
That is
no,
that is
No, the
hands
new
down
Meowth is cool.
my
Wait,
least.
the one with the beard isn't the new mount?
Yeah, this is actually something I wanted to bring up. I'm still to this day, like 2 days after, blown away.
To this day.
To this day, 2 days. I'm blown away by the fact that not only did they make an Alolan form, like one of the first regional variants was Alolan Meowth, they did another regional variant for the new games. I'm like, there's other Pokemon. and what's cool is, and this is a slight spoiler as well, you might not know this, is instead of evolving into Persian, it actually evolves into a different Pokemon, which is kind of sick. And the different Pokemon is really cool.
Thanks for that.
But I'm still, well, dude, when
It's kind of like Persian.
so like
but if,
once you've experienced, it doesn't matter anymore for spoilers, or
it becomes a dog.
does it become a dog?
Yeah.
No, wait, it doesn't come. It probably becomes some sort of Yeti. I imagine.
So mine was absurd, but it becomes a Yeti. That's plausible.
there's a little bit more of a design
They already
correlation.
have a Bomba Snow, is there? Whatever the heck it's
Bomb of
called.
Snow, yeah.
Snow,
Oh,
it's
you had
okay.
it. You had it.
Yeah, I might get a Meowth then. Now I was thinking it was gonna. I don't really care for Persian. So.
What's the blackbird thing that you had? That's pretty sick.
Corviknight?
Yeah.
Corviknight is sick. I'm stoked because there's a really allegedly a really low chance that you'll encounter a Gigantamax Pokemon in the wild area. But for certain periods of times they have it where the encounter rate is increased. But then also in max raid battles, the Pokemon that you get have like a small chance of getting their hidden ability. And it even says on the website, like, if you're extremely lucky and challenge lots of raids, you can get a Gigantamax Pokemon with its hidden ability. Literally first Corviknight raid that I did, I got both. So, and it's a sick Pokemon. It's super cool looking. It's got a cool type.
Is it just a single evolution?
No,
it's
so
three.
yeah.
It's the region's bird, like starting bird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very unexpected because like it was one of the first Pokemon that they revealed after the starters for the games, and so people knew about it for a while, and so it seemed really sick. And I guess because they took a bit of a different approach and announced like different stages of evolution instead of always announcing like the first stage and then over time announcing the subsequent ones, like because we only knew of Corviknight pretty much until the game came out, we thought that it just wouldn't be the regional bird, but it was. So it's got like the first evolution is called Rookie D, and then the second evolution is called Corvisquire. So the idea is it goes from a rook to a squire to a knight. Yeah, which is cool. So, yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome Pokemon. I was showing some of the guys my team in the game right now is actually pretty sick. It's composed of some cool Pokemon. So
The designs in this game are great.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed them a lot. Even like as I gotten older, like some of the like Pokemon like Vanillite, I'm like when I first see them I'm like, oh, that's stupid. But now I love those designs because they're just so dumb that I love it. So like there's like an apple Pokemon now. So I'm gonna get that Pokemon because it's probably gonna turn into like an apple pie or something. I don't know.
Dude,
what it's
I
gonna do.
really hope it turns into an apple pie.
it's an
No,
apple.
it turns into a cherry pie. It changes fruits altogether.
Incredible.
I guess it's no different than like Cherubi or anything like
Yeah.
that. But for some reason, an apple just seems great.
Dude, the crazy part, the Pokemon's name is Applin. It's grass and dragon type.
Yeah,
That doesn't make
Really?
any sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
So I'm hoping it evolves into just like a giant apple tree monster, basically.
apple pie dragon.
Apple.
A
No,
dragon
just give it wings after that, and then it can blow seeds at you. And that's its fire.
Seed boy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wonder what if it just doesn't evolve at all?
That'd be
Just
sad.
stays an
That-
apple.
There's nothing I
It's-
hate. There's nothing I hate more than single evolution Pokemon because I know Game Freak's not gonna give them any love. Dunsparce.
I don't know.
Or Dunsparce.
Absol was probably one of my favorite Pokemon in Emerald, and That was a single evolution.
See, I liked them, but like I love the idea of Pokemon evolving. Like I even don't like two Pokemon evolutions. Hey Bender.
Special guest.
That was let's claw Jack to get.
That could have been a lot worse than it was. His claws didn't get too far past the jeans, but it was like just enough to be like prickly.
Ooh,
Ooh.
It's like,
If you dig them in more, I'm gonna like be angry.
Yeah, it's nice of him to join the podcast.
Yeah,
Hi,
this is
Bender.
good. Hey, buddy.
So
Sorry, you go ahead, Peter.
I was very upset to learn that Squirtle and Bulbasaur are not in Sword and Shield. I was like, how do you...
Charmander is?
And Charmander is.
Perfect.
And I was like, but...
Well, yeah,
Bulbasaur
they had to give Charizard a new form.
Yeah.
They're not in it.
They're
at
not
all?
in it. But people found the data in the game, and like all the animation, all that's there, but there's no actual way in the game to get it without hacking. So people are speculating it's either going to be through an event or through like some DLC or something.
So I have the answer for you. Well, it might not be the definitive answer, but basically I was doing a bit of cheeky Cerebi browsing. I was trying to avoid spoilers, but I wanted to look up like a couple of mechanics. I wanted to know how shiny hunting worked. I wanted to know when max rays were going to spawn, and I saw transfer only Pokemon. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And the rest of the Kanto starters, Mewtwo, Mew, Reshiram, Zekrom, and then all of the Alolan starters, and then quite a few others, like including a surprising amount of mythical Pokemon, are all actually transferable. So that, I hope that's not actually a spoiler in some way for like something that they have the intention of doing, because Pokemon is actually really bad for programming things that are meant to be a surprise later into the original game. That's why everyone's always known about all of the mythical Pokemon for the generation, and then like a year and a half later a Pokemon will be like introducing Darkrai, and everyone will be like, oh yeah, Darkrai, we have him hacked into our game, we use him all the time. So that this might be an example of that. There might be post-release content, but because it said transfer only Pokemon, I assume once Pokemon Home comes out, you'll be able to transfer those Pokemon over.
That's definitely their gimmick for that.
Yeah.
I am shocked that they don't have all the starters in the game. Like, I would much rather see every starter be in the game than any of the mythical Pokemon.
Yeah.
Any of them. I don't really care for the legendaries anymore. They're so meh to me.
Yeah.
They're just like power weapons.
There's too many of them for them to feel like they're important anymore.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
They're just
There's
kind of
that,
like
but
weird.
Even for any of the games that I ever played, I would catch them, but I'd never use them.
Oh yeah.
I just found like he was like, oh yeah, I have them, but I felt like they're overpowered stat wise.
Yeah,
to
Jarrod
use
never
them.
uses legendaries by principle, right?
Yeah,
So
like I'm the only game I haven't played. Oh, I mean, now this one was Black and White 2. So I mean, all the legendaries besides that game, I was like, I catch them, and then I used to always try to catch them with a Pokeball. That was always my challenge. It took forever sometimes. Like Rayquaza, I did that with, and that was a tough one to do. It was a lot of going through potion after potion, just trying to keep things alive long enough. I'm like, okay, let's go, another Pokeball. You got it.
I feel like they've made legendaries a lot easier to catch in recent.
Wasn't Rayquaza like level like 70 or something?
Rayquaza
Wow.
was
Really?
so hard to catch with a
Yeah.
Pokeball.
Yeah.
It took me attempt after attempt.
I could never even get it with an Ultra Ball. Yeah.
I just never wanted to waste my Master Ball. And
And you never used the Master Ball.
No, I used it on. What did I use it on? The one time I used it on an
Abra.
No, but that would have been funny too. I used it on routes
Why?
just because I could.
You know, he had it.
I didn't have
Burning a
anything
hole
else
in
to
his
catch
bag.
with, so I was like, well, I really want this routes because it was a female routes, and in Emerald is even less of a chance to catch a female routes, and a routes was already like a 1.2% chance of running into it.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, let's go.
In Emerald, it's probably better to save the Master Ball for like Latios or Latias, depending on which one you got, because those guys are such a pain to catch.
Yeah. Jarrod, it's funny. I might have chastised you for using it on such a like insignificant Pokemon, but when I was a kid, I didn't actually understand like how useful the Master Ball was as an item. And like in like Pokemon Sapphire, I'd get the Master Ball in the Aqua hideout and then interact with one of the other items, which was an electrode, and immediately throw the Master Ball at him. And then over time, like, because like when I was a kid, I had like almost no games other than Pokemon Sapphire, so I would just reset my save file and play it through like over and over again. And like
I love the little sprinkles of his life story.
No, anyways. And like over time, I would think of like, oh, actually, this Pokemon's a bit more rare. I want to catch it with this. So I caught like a Manectric with it once, and then I was finally like, oh, or I could use it to catch the legendary Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
I actually, the first time I got the Master Ball, I tried to sell it.
I
It's
was like-
not a bad idea.
I was like, I just don't need, like, I don't know. To me, I like the challenge, so I don't like
yeah.
something that eliminates the challenge.
Yeah.
I know that they threw it in there for the story purpose, but I was like, I wanted that. Screw the story.
When I was younger, I
He
was
was a
at
lad.
I was at like the Park for All Seasons playing Pokemon Gold, and I gave my Game Boy to a kid who wanted to like try it out. I don't know why I did that.
Generous kid, Evan.
I guess I was generous. I guess I'm still generous, but you know, that's just how she goes. Anyways, I gave the Game Boy to this kid, and he goes around, does something, comes
Ow.
back to me, says, "I
Get
got
out
you
of
a-
here, you."
I got you a Rattata." Jeez. I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." Like, I go look. I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then like, I'm like, thank God I caught it, because then I was going through my Pokeball list and I realized he used the Master Ball to catch it.
Oh my God.
I was like, no! So I just turned off my Game Boy and turned it back on. What have you done?
Oh my gosh.
Drew just said, have you ever dropped the Master Ball, though?
Like
Oh,
like discarded it from your
I
part or
get-
from
yeah,
your
I don't
item.
even know you could do
That is
that.
an
You
absolute
discard
Chad move. Bender just messed up my hand a little bit.
Did he?
Did he hurt you?
I mean, a little bit.
Oh, Bender.
He's being a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, cats can just act like that sometimes. I remember I was having a really good cuddle with my cat Guinness, like on the couch, just like, you know, like hanging out for a while, and then all of a sudden he like leaned his head back, turned his like head or to like face my hand, and then opened his mouth super wide. I'm like, what are you doing, Guinness? And then just bit my hand for literally no reason. I was like, what?
I am the boss here. Human.
Cats are weird like that.
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah, anyways, I think like I'm still playing through Pokemon. I'm still trying to put together like my impressions and opinions, because like, of course, with all the anticipation for it and like thinking so highly of it and the fact that it is Pokemon, like I'm gonna love it no matter what, and I'm always gonna have good things to say about it. But I would definitely like to like complete the game and give some more like overall thoughts. You know, I was thinking maybe doing it with like you and Graydon and Jack and like the guys that didn't end up getting the game, see if I can talk him into it.
I'm still considering maybe getting it.
No, I
will
get it.
see
I just
about
don't
it.
want to spend $80 on it,
Yeah, well, I mean,
because that's like the first Pokemon game that's $80. isn't it?
exactly. Well,
What?
they did
What?
it. They
Is
did the
it?
same
What?
for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which even less felt like it didn't feel like it was worth
That
$80
game
at all.
was probably not worth $80.
Yeah, but Game Freak
weren't
wants
all
that
of the-
shmoney.
No,
No,
most of them
they're
are $60.
DS games. Yeah, they're DS games, so they cost less.
They're $50, I think, for 3DS games. And then when they go on sale, they go down to like 30, and they just stay there. Yeah, it did add like an interesting element to the whole debate over on the games. Like, especially they made the decision to cut content right when people are paying way more for it, right? So. You trying to market to a certain fan base there, Evan?
Get your LC sock hats now.
That'll appeal to our foot fetish fan base.
Perfect for any foot fetish enthusiast.
Anyways, I do want to talk about a few things, so I think that's a good, healthy amount of Pokemon. I just do have
20 minutes.
one little thing to say. If you're a fan of Generation 3, as I am, there is an excellent rock medley of the Generation 3 songs on YouTube that appeared in my recommended a few months ago. I was like, oh yeah, I'll add that to my watch later list, which is where a lot of videos go to die on my YouTube.
Yeah.
So I eventually watched it a few months ago, and it is so good. I go back to it like every little while and just watch it again. It's like 17 minutes long. Just search like Pokemon Sapphire Ruby medley, and it'll probably be the first one that
What's
appears.
the name of the YouTuber? Do you know?
I do not know. If Peter just types that into YouTube, I'll be able to tell him if it's the right one.
Good to hear, because like the Generation 3 soundtrack is like amazing, and I'm going to listen to that frame one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, even after years and years of like really good Pokemon songs,
Yeah,
that
it's
came
the
out
top
with.
one right there.
By Dr. Pez.
Dr. Pez, thanks,
Pez.
Dr. Pez. I'm going to listen to that with my ears. in the next.
I love when the YouTube recommendations actually like are on point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually work. Like, hey, I would like to watch that. Thank you, YouTube.
As opposed to the rest of the time when it's like a video from 10 years ago, like, and you're like, thank you for this. I'm glad this is relevant again.
Or it's Logan Paul. Now we can use that in the tags. I did.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's a thumbnail, some clickbait.
Logan Paul on Live Connection. Confirmed.
God. Oh my
Wow.
God. I actually,
Most disliked video
yeah.
ever.
I think if we actually had the opportunity to have like one of the Paul brothers or just really controversial YouTubers on the channel, I'd probably say no.
What?
I mean, the exposure would be nice,
meet
but
one of them and just like
I'd just be
pick
interested.
their brains.
Yeah, I'd
see
be.
if they're psychotic.
You've made Chris Kringle over there angry.
You were a bad boy this year, Matt.
Okay, maybe Jake, but Logan is far too controversial, I think. This is the man who filmed a dead body in a sacred place in another country.
That's true.
And then-
I don't think I'd
and
have
then
that one.
disrespected the culture further in another video he
But
made.
now he's boxing people and stuff.
Well, good
Yeah, it
for
seems
him.
like the internet's pretty much.
Yeah, I
forgiven
thought that was him. I thought that was like just like a funny meme. I thought he was just like,
No, they're
dude,
boxing.
I literally every time, like, cause you know Snapchat has those awful like
I've
things that they
muted
recommend
all
to
of
you.
those.
I literally had to like on a daily basis mute Logan Paul this, Logan Paul that. I'm like, man, there is no one in the world I care less about than Logan Paul.
You can mute things on Snapchat.
You have to
too?
hold down the little frame and then a menu comes up, and thank goodness for that, because I mean, for one thing, like I muted all of the main ones. The IGN I've muted. They're all just so bad. Like
Yeah.
they are examples of how journalism is just at its worst in 2019. And like any news outlet or anything that says this person did what or this thing has what, like it's the exact opposite of how journalism used to be. You have to click on the article to actually know what the article is about, because they're just trying to bait you into clicking on it, and it's pathetic, and I don't want to subscribe to it. So
They get their ad revenue, boys. That's
makes
how they
me
make
mad.
their money. But yes.
makes me mad.
Anyways,
Yeah, and we don't do that with our videos either.
Well,
never. Well,
There's
the
a
difference
difference
is we're not making money.
Yeah, like I guess there's a difference between like trying to play the field as far as like the YouTube climate goes.
we're a slutty channel.
Big old sluts.
We should just start putting pictures of feet in all of our thumbnails. Come on, boys. Come on.
With hats on.
Get what you're looking for.
We did that? Jared,
Feet
I want,
puppet.
I want you to put in the thumbnail our Live Connection hat on a bare foot, like right center of the thumbnail. See what happens.
Matt,
Just a little experiment.
what's better, like a Logan Paul collaboration or doubling down on the foot fetish community?
You got to pick one.
Logan Paul.
Whoa.
Like I know, like we joke about it, like it's haha funny. All of our videos get added to foot fetish playlists, but
So?
you know the chill that goes down your spine when you look on our YouTube video analytics and you see the most amount of playlists that our videos have been added to, and it's stuff like toe twisting, wiggling toes. There's so many. It makes me want to vomit. When Evan sent me the picture, it made me upset. It's like it's
Here's
wiggling.
the thing, though. In their day-to-day life, like foot fetish people are probably just like you and I. They're probably just normal people doing their thing. And then Logan Paul is a terrible human. He's a god-awful waste of breath.
Hey, you know what? If you like feet and that's your
Oh,
fetish,
what
as
a-
long as you tell your friends about us, you do you. Just keep doing you.
You want some more steamy foot action? Follow us on Patreon, baby.
exclusive.
We're gonna
foot
set up
content.
a live connection private Snapchat.
I don't know. Let's just go
all
to
foot
Pornhub.
content.
Do you think we would get like attacked by, like we'd get a warning from Twitch if we just put like a stream of us like of the ground with just a bare, like one bare foot, just like wiggling its toes for an hour? You think? And we just traded out the foot every so often. You think Twitch
Just
would
another
get
one
mad
like
at us?
slides in, like
and then
taps
a
the other
couple-
foot
we
twice.
Get like a little bit of foot action.
I don't
going
think.
here.
I don't think it would. I think if we disguised it as something else, Twitch wouldn't have a problem with it, because
But
Twitch
those,
has no problem with pornographic content when it's presented as something that's not like. You think people who enjoy watching mukbangs aren't there because they're not like food fetish people? or you think like big titty streamers aren't there to like arouse their young fan base and stuff like
That
that?
is true.
I think there's like a line. I know that the
We can put those
I
eyeballs
know
that you
the
can get
de-
that have like the black, the wobbly.
googly eyes on our.
We could give our feet characters and then like do like foot role play between all of them. We can have
This is not what I signed up
we
for.
can have storylines with all of our feet. So
Peter.
each of us have 2 characters.
Yeah.
Peter, you wanted content to record on Sunday. Boom, we have a
like
content.
feet puppets.
Let's
yeah.
wait.
It would be foot
let's
puppets.
recreate iconic movie scenes with our feet.
The new channel. Live connections done.
See, the real question is, has this been done already?
I almost guarantee it
It
has.
has to have
yeah.
been done.
You know, I think we can really transform like the foot idea. It doesn't have to be like googly eyes just on a couple toes. You can use them at like different angles. You could use like close up all your toes, have big toe. I guess I don't know. You'd have to do it like that. Come on stage left, be like Evan. And I can't do it. Hold
No,
on.
that's not. No,
Evan.
your toes aren't the mouth.
Evan, I love you.
Your foot. We
But
just
why
put
not?
googly
Why-
eyes like here and like. Can they see my
Did you have to
foot
put your
right
other
now?
foot underneath to
I had to hold no because for
Everyone,
some reason
look
my
at
foot was
foot.
shaking when
Peter,
I was.
can they see my foot in this?
I hope they can't.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you put eyes
Oh,
right here
Peter.
and here, and you put the mouth right here and near the
Yo,
toes.
there's these thumbnails and stuff. These are disturbing. I'm legitimately uncomfortable.
Dude,
about
throw it
something-
on the camera, Peter.
That's America's
Throw
Got
it on
Talent.
the camera. Get it up there, Peter.
Yeah, put it
Man,
on
I
the-
wanted to talk about Jarrod playing the new Jedi game or whatever. This is much better. Obviously.
Dude, this is. Whoa.
It has 35,000 views.
It looks like a person. He's got a little hat. Oh,
Wow.
This is top. This is,
Oh my god.
no. Peter. Oh my god. Peter, you gotta move the camera a bit to the right there. It's getting covered. This is quality.
I hate this.
no, not another one. Oh, no. I don't. This is. Guys, we can't compete with this.
Yeah, this is too good. We gotta throw that idea out. Someone's already done it better.
How many subscribers does Doug Bettinger have for his foot puppet? 141.
1 subscribers.
We're better.
We beat them.
But they have more views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any chance you have more?
All right.
I love
I
her
like it.
I love her foot. All right, boys, let's get out of this side of YouTube. This is bad.
I don't even want to mention this in the list of things that we've talked
We
about.
gotta throw the Sand Shrew episode out.
Yeah. See, Matt, I know you have an issue with the foot fetish thing, but like you're the one who came dressed for the foot fetish.
Yeah, you're not wearing socks right
Yeah.
I did
You're the
actually
one
think
who
about that
dressed-
when I
who
came
dressed
in.
lewd today.
now. Yeah.
Your ankles are showing.
I'm doing it for the viewers.
I'm shook, guys. Like, I didn't like that.
Going back, the sexual content lines for like Twitch are very blurred. Like Twitch does not have a very good definition of what's considered explicit content. Like it'd be like nudity, they're like, yeah, get rid of that. But anything else, like they're just like, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty inconsistent.
Yeah, and it's weird like what causes it. I wonder if like a Twitch like representative just has to be in the stream at the time cuz ethot called Amaranth. She's big on Twitter because she puts her butt in the camera. Not judging, I appreciate it too. Anyways, she was doing like an IRL.
Pretty sure a few members
know
of
what,
Live
Jake,
Connection
just-
follow her because some of her stuff appears in my Twitter feed.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's definitely the Live Connection account definitely follows her.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well.
So
So,
just blur everything that Matt's saying right now, though. Cause
Just his whole
Well, the
mouth.
choice is yours. You might want to blur what I'm about to say.
It's not cause she does that she has a big Twitter following.
No, dude,
Like, she's a streamer too, and she has her own business, and she's a cosplayer. Like lots of stuff going on.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I was gonna like try and defend myself by being like, that's not why I'm bringing it up. But I actually think what you said is wrong. You're trying to tell me that okay,
Choose your words carefully.
you're
please do.
trying
Yeah.
to tell
Please-
me
Please choose your words
I'm
carefully.
dude, why do you think it's taking me 45 minutes to get the sentence out? I'm working on it. You're trying to tell me that
I'm scared.
her following on Twitter is not mostly because she posts videos.
You
of
have
her
no
butt.
idea what it is.
Should we look at the analytics? Should we
No,
do
Look
a
at
like,
research?
someone
just-
else's analytics.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like she runs her own thing and whatever. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. Like
All
I
right,
don't think
well,
Evan's
we'll
saying
move
that
on because
it's
I'll
not
say what I was going to say.
contributing.
Sorry,
it's
Peter.
not,
What?
and I'm not saying that it's not contributing. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that like it's you can't just take it and because a certain kind of content's being produced that you can't just put it in a box, and say this is why this is happening. Or
That's
even say
usually
anything
usually
else
when
about
people
it.
do that, it's because they're mad about where they're at in the same industry. And
What are you trying to say?
Well,
Matt wishes he had some big old biddies to wave in our camera.
I do.
No, but like, you know what I'm saying though, where it's like usually a statement where someone says this is the reason someone is this,
Yeah.
and they're targeting it in a negative way is usually because, and this is just humans in general, is envy. It's like, oh, I wish I wish I
yeah,
had that.
I think you're right.
At the end of the day, like it doesn't matter. Like you can look at anybody who's big and say that they're only big because of this, and this. Like even look at the Kardashians. They're only big because their parents had a lot of money and they helped them throughout the life. But they also have to have
Sex tapes.
no. Well, they also have to have a
Be
great
married to Kanye
understanding.
West.
They also have to have a great understanding of marketing. Like they're business people, right? That's
Yeah.
how they're making so much money too.
Well, I mean, they probably have a lot of money to hire people who are.
That's
good
what I
at
was going to
business.
say. Is it them or the people
Yeah,
around
but
them?
They have
but at
good-
the end
they've
of the day, they have to make the call to hire those people.
Yeah.
But
But
they
it's
could have
also-
just done nothing.
Yeah.
But they're still striving to go do things. I'm not saying that they didn't have an unfair advantage, but even people on Twitter like Amarath, like there's a million people that probably could have gotten to that point, but they weren't good at the business side to get to that point. So she's built her. What's the word? The marketing. Her image.
For image, yeah.
Her
Her
image.
brand image.
Her brand. She's built her brand the way she has, and a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that in itself is the reason why she's there. It has sure there's things that give you an advantage, but you need to have that branding skill to build yourself up there. And
It's true,
obviously
but you
there's
can
a
you
little
can
luck
also
in there,
have
too.
you can also like have the best brand in the world. You can know all about marketing and not make it because you don't have that other thing that pushes them over the edge.
Yeah, like you need to have everything, right? It's a big it's like the conversation we had about music like a few weeks ago, right? Like you can be the greatest guitar player in the world and not get big because, you weren't lucky, you weren't able to make the right calls at the right times, like a million factors that go into it, right?
Absolutely.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah, I respect it. Can I actually say what I was trying to say about Amaranth in the first place? It wasn't about her on Twitter. I don't know why I got into it.
Yeah,
but
sure.
basically, like my suspicion was that Twitch has people just like in like their own kind of like moderators in like big chats, because Amaranth got banned on Twitch because she was doing an IRL stream. She was like laying on the floor cuddling her dog and her skirt like exposed, right? Anyways, and yeah, she got banned like instantly because of that.
I
And,
think
like,
nudity is instantly hit.
Yeah.
I don't know if if it is because of moderators, but I've seen stuff like on YouTube where it's like, oh, this watch this Twitch user get banned, and it's like they're just playing a game, and then like someone like a girl like stretches, and then her like breast pops out, and then instantly the stream is shut down, and they're all like, no, and then it's just like boom, like that. And it's like, all right, I think Twitch needs to be, they need to take it the context around it, like because there's two ways around it. There's someone
that's
who's
dangerous
Yeah.
because Twitch doesn't limit themselves to 18 plus content. So if someone could go after them for allowing that content to be viewed by under 18 population.
Yeah, but
whether
also-
it's an accidental, people sue people for accidents all the time and things like that, and Twitch can't take that kind of a hit. Especially a big company like that, they don't want to destroy their image, especially when they have competitors now that are constantly building up around them.
It also goes in with like viewer guidelines and what is culturally acceptable. Nudity is a big thing in especially
States,
those
yeah.
states and the Western culture in general. It's something that bleeds into Canada. We don't care about violence. We have very limited guidelines around like swearing and graphic content. But like nudity is like it's such a taboo in our culture.
hard
and
stop.
like and really anything sexual, unless it's being spoken of in innuendo or tongue in cheek type deal, then it's something that is really tough to work around, and that's just kind of a cultural thing. It's different in other parts of the world. Like look at Australia, like how much trouble they have with like mature games because their content laws focus more on violence. So
Well, I'd say this also depends on, like, I feel like online Western population's more like, oh no, don't show any kind of nudity. But I feel like in the population in general, when you're walking around outside, it's more acceptable in Western culture than Eastern cultures to have less clothing, to have
Well,
stuff like that.
the-
Because you definitely can have a lot less clothing in Western culture
these-
and still be considered acceptable publicly.
Yeah, but these are two different kind of
this is
cultures we're talking about with the Western culture. You're talking about Jack's talking about more of like the big corporations hate nudity.
No,
Whereas,
that's
like,
why that's
the
why I
little-
said I feel like
where
it
the
depends if you're
day-to-day-
online or if
Yeah,
you're out
The
of
day-to-day person doesn't care.
I'm talking about content laws, right? And all these things stemming back for various historical reasons
there.
to, these things that you were and weren't allowed to show in, early film and, early radio and stuff like that just because of values at the time and how those values have changed. But the content laws have not necessarily caught up to that. Like Game of Thrones is a good example. We see a ton of nudity in Game of Thrones, but it's something that's made outside of the U.S., but distributed by the U.S., and so you have to have content warnings before it comes on saying this is a mature thing. It's for audience of 18 plus people, stuff like that. So and it varies depending on where you are. That's just kind of how content laws work.
Yeah,
So,
and the states is definitely a lot more more strict on it too, because like Deadpool, like R-rated movies in the states, most of the time they're 14A in Canada only, unless it has to do with nudity. If there's nudity in it, it's also I think R-rated here. But like Zombieland 2, R-rated US, 14A Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
it's interesting.
But there's a lot of things like our age, our decision on when something's appropriate is just really skewed compared to most places, just in general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at it like legal age to drink. Like,
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
can drink at 8. I mean, okay, we'll say 19 because
Most of
Canada
Canada is
is
19.
most of Canada's 19.
We're the exception.
But still, you're still looking at years before, like 3 years before 21, right? So
very true. Very true.
There's always seemed to be a weird like cognitive dissonance going into how they make laws sometimes, like they on a surface level there's a lot of laws that exist that don't make sense for a lot of reasons. Squatters' rights, the fact that if somebody breaks into your house and you beat the snot out of them but you don't kill them, they can sue you. Like a lot of stuff that just out there, and that's we're only talking about Canadian law here too.
Squatters'
right?
rights. I love the idea of squatters' rights.
Squatters'
It's
rights is
great.
just like a meme.
No, it's awesome, dude. It's like for example, like, or maybe I guess I shouldn't say this, but like if you, the idea that the fact that like you can take a little bit of someone's property and like if they don't dispute it, after 10 years, you get that bit of property that you took. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
awesome if you're the
hilarious.
person who owns the property.
Evan's gonna go hide on
No.
some piece of land, and he's just gonna slowly expand himself out. But it's gonna be so remote on someone's land that they're like, "Oh, I don't really go over there too often, but it's still part of my land." And then all of a sudden, Evan's gonna put up a house, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's gonna be like, "I've been here for 10 years. You haven't done anything."
Squatters' rights. I think the idea of it's pretty funny because like I bet you it doesn't happen too much, but there are cases where it does happen, and like it's probably pretty crazy when
Yeah.
it does happen.
It'd just be amazing how you wouldn't like. I guess you have stupid amounts of land, then you wouldn't notice. But
Yeah.
if you're like living inside the city and all of a sudden someone's like, "No, this is my land. I've been here for 10 years." Like, how do you not know that? How do you not know someone is in your backyard right now?
I've been
when your
living
backyard
inside
is
the walls
but
for
it's not
10
like
years.
but it's not like so like I think you're thinking of it the wrong way. It's not like I can just live in your backyard
for 10 years, and then you come outside, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, sorry, bro. It's 10 years is up. Like, this is my backyard now. No, it's like you actually have to, like, the idea is like, say you had a house, like a yard, and you had a fence around, and there was 2 yards next to each other. And then you decided one day that you're going to build a fence up. You don't actually check the property line, and neither does your neighbor. So you put up this fence, and turns out you put that fence 1 foot into their property line.
Okay, I get that.
And that fence now runs like that.
Yeah.
So now 10 years go by, neither parties disputes it.
Yeah.
Then that foot now becomes part of your property. That's how squatters' rights work.
Yeah, I know.
But it's
I
not.
was exaggerating it.
No, but it's not like, yeah, I know. But
I am
like,
glad
That was
you
a,
explained
that was a
this.
hyperbole.
but it was a wrong hyperbole.
It doesn't matter if it was wrong. It was a hyperbole.
Yeah.
No, because you're not exaggerating like what the truth of it. You're just exaggerating the incorrectness of it. You know?
That is very interesting. That's an interesting concept in and of itself.
What's Peter? Peter? Can you just Google for me the craziest just Google craziest squatters' rights story Canada. Let's see what comes up.
You might find
Someone
it on
said
Reddit.
sorry for sitting, for putting a fence up. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't need these rights. Put them back.
Man receives thousands of square kilometers due to squatters' rights.
Someone puts fence over pipeline. Pipeline below.
No, because pipelines have right of ways that are owned by the pipeline company.
Yeah, but my fence went over top of it.
No, you would not be allowed to do that because they always
what you
monitor the right of ways, and if they saw a fence on it, you would get fined hardcore because you building a fence over a pipeline, not a good idea.
That's perfect. It's
Let me
completely
just
safe.
put this pole in the ground here.
I can't really find any good example.
I guess there's nothing funny. I thought there'd be something funny out there.
Yeah,
for
you would think
squatters'
so,
rights.
right?
I guess not.
I guess if Live Connections, technically, if Live Connection stays in this building for the next several years, maybe Peter's building will become our building.
Hey, thanks in advance for this
Yeah,
basement.
perfect. Live Connection can sell it and we can get something better.
So going back to weird policies about nudity and stuff like that, and maybe
I thought we
none
got
of
away
us
from
as
that.
as 4 males will.
I really want to talk about the Star Wars game, but please continue.
What do we have for time? Good
We
old
got
Peter.
like 5-10 more minutes.
Okay,
like
let's
10
talk
minutes.
about Star Wars.
But now I'm intrigued on where
why
you
were
were
you
going.
I was gonna ask
What was so
people's.
necessary that you needed to come back to the nudity conversation?
I was gonna ask people's
Wow.
thoughts about like the free the nip movement, but maybe now's not the time, and maybe we're not the people. To
I think
talk
that's a
about
little above our.
Yeah, that's way above our pay grade. I
it.
think.
Great. All right, good talk, Jared.
Is that the drum roll for Star Wars?
Well, no, hold on. This is that.
Okay, that's not getting picked up on the mic. For
So,
sure. Oh, it maybe is.
It
how is the new Star Wars game, Jarrod? I've heard it's actually quite good.
I have played 10 minutes of it.
But you got
So I played the tutorial in the beginning. I'm going to do a review on it.
okay.
It's so far the gameplay, the combat is awesome. It is Dark Souls-esque combat.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
It is like a dodge parry kind of combat. You can't just go in swinging when you get to harder enemies. The game itself looks very nice. Like graphically, the world design is very nice. The only thing that I didn't like is the character designs are not gold standard, in my opinion. Like when I've seen a lot of games make realistic looking characters, this game, it was like the aliens look great. The humans look like they literally were like, all right, let's do a stick figure. And then, I mean, that's huge exaggeration, but it just doesn't look like the games I played recently. It just doesn't seem like they went up to that standard. But excellent game so far. Like the skill trees are really nice. They have a forced tutorial, so it's not something that you can just be like, oh, I'm just going to skip this.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess could be annoying if you play it multiple times. But for the first time playing, I really enjoy that because a lot of the time people just skip and just figure out as they go, which, I mean, it's fair enough. If that's your gameplay style, that's awesome. But it really breaks down the game because it is actually a relatively complex system. It's not just a go and it's easy to use kind of thing. It's more of a once you know it, it's easy to use, but getting to know it's a little bit different. I do like, because they have their skill tree. So you have like your force, your lightsaber, and then I think it's survival's the third tree. And essentially, you have all these points. You get, every time you level up, you get a point for it, and you can make your person stronger. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I hope they don't allow you to fill that tree. I hope it's more of like pick your play style, and then that is your play style kind of thing. Because I found like a good example would be The Force Unleashed. Great game, like phenomenal Star Wars games, but at the end, you literally walk through the hallways throwing stormtroopers around like they're nothing. Like,
I feel like the nature of this game, it won't get at least to that point, just because it seems to force you to be a little bit more tactical and like plan out battles and stuff like that.
Well, I'm playing on the hardest difficulty because I want to see that experience, because I feel like this is a style of game that's supposed to be played on the hardest difficulty.
Right.
It is a big story, which I'm excited to see where they go with the story, but I think the game itself, because it's Dark Soul-esque with the combat system, I feel like you should play it on the hardest one, because basically what it does is it skews the parrying, so you have less of a block to parry. You have to time it much better. Enemies have higher health, they do a little bit more damage, and that's how those are the three categories that are changed when they're doing it.
Right.
And it just seems really neat. Like in the first intro, you meet the antagonist right out of the gate. Oh. I think there's more than one of them. Only one of them talks in the beginning, and you only kind of like interact with one.
The main antagonist is one of like Darth Vader's Jedi hunters, like one of the
Inquisitors. It's a Empire Inquisitor.
Yeah.
And I think there's multiple of them that you face in the game.
Right.
So that's why I say, because
there's 11 of them or something.
There is
like
11
that.
of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a big guy that was kind of in the background, but he was an Inquisitor. He came down the Inquisitor ship. I'm pretty sure he's part of the antagonistic group of enemies, but I like how right out of the gate you have lots of customizability. Like the world you go to is really cool because it's kind of like a base world, but you can go test things out. Like there's little things you can unlock and do in that world, but it's like it seems like it's a base, but something that you can practice.
That's cool. I think that's something that we talked about last week on the podcast that we kind of wanted to see something like that. So that's cool to good.
Yeah,
cool,
and then
cool to know.
The customizability was really good. Like you have a whole bunch of lightsaber customizability options. I think I didn't count them entirely, but I'd say about 25 outfits that you can unlock in the game. And I mean they're always really cool when you get the Jedi outfits. I mean, Force Unleashed had wicked outfits that you could get for him, but I don't know. I'm excited to play it a little bit more. I need to get through get through some school stuff, but I'm hoping to have that review out for my next Wednesday video.
It's a month. It's on Game Pass, right?
No.
No.
Oh, I wish.
Bad.
No.
Oh, you got me excited, Jack.
No, it's an EA Access games. EA doesn't put things on Game Pass.
Do the Inquisitors have like kind of like Star Wars Rebels, like the circle sabers? Pretty much?
Some of them. It depends. The Inquisitors are specialists in their different ways, and that's how they're chosen when they were chosen by Darth Vader and the Emperor. But essentially, like this one, for example, her lightsaber, her grip is circular, but her lightsaber is a dual-bladed lightsaber. So
it'll probably rotate. Hey. That's what happens in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
It's like a little hilt in the middle, and then it's circular. And then
because you have the sisters, or you have the three. I believe it's the three sisters that are three of the Inquisitors. I forget the names of all of them. I read the books, and they had all the different ones.
The antagonist in this game is the second sister, I believe.
Yes.
Is what she's called. Yeah.
And it's honestly it's super cool. Like I'm super excited to get into it.
Is the Inquisitor from Star Wars Rebels in it? That one.
I've only been
11 Inquisitors in the canon. That guy must show up. Right?
I've only been introduced to. I've only seen two of them. I've only been introduced to one of them.
Because you saw the sister, and then there's the big guy, the big alien guy, who's one of the Inquisitors as well.
Yeah. So those are the two I've seen. I'm sure they're going to, because it seems like that's the style of game. Because the thing that I like about it too is you're not coming into it as like this super powerful Jedi. You're a Jedi that just became a Jedi Knight. Like he just got his master was killed, I believe, in obviously the whole thing
in Order 66.
and then but I believe you just became a Jedi Knight, and after that whole Order 66, you actually had something happen to you. It hasn't really been revealed yet of what happened to you, but it's almost like an amnesia style thing, but it's not. It's like something to do directly with the Force, where he's like, I lost my connection with it or something.
Oh, I see.
So do you not get to experience Order 66 at the
No,
beginning
so
of the game?
it's literally right after. It's actually right after, because they're doing the breakdown of all the old Republic ships and all the old clone trooper, the turtles, the AT, whatever, I forget what they're called.
Oh yeah,
The ones on Geonosis that they
Yeah.
use. So there's literally like, you're in a scrapyard. That's how you start. Is you're hiding as a scrapper, and then you get found out because you end up saving a guy.
just like in X-Men.
Yeah, you end up saving a guy, and of course they're looking for Force use of the
Users,
Force.
yeah.
So as soon as they felt someone use the Force, of course they're gonna come there and be like, okay, which one are you? Let's go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's really cool. I'm excited to see where it goes from there.
Well, I might get EA access for like a month and then like speed run the game and then cancel.
Oh, it's not
EA
free.
access.
EA Access just gives you $10 off.
Oh, seriously?
You get free games, but they usually are a generation behind.
Oh, I thought EA access was like actually good.
It's decent if
just
you. It's
okay.
good. It's good if you like sports games, and I get it for discounts because I end up playing a lot of EA games. So the $10 can add up if I keep saving on it.
So you mean you love EA, not Peter?
I
Is
like
this
EA.
real?
He's been trying to push it off on me, but I'm glad you guys have finally seen through his
Haven't seen
ruse.
the light.
I don't know.
So what is Jarrod like, Peter?
Yay.
What is he?
He likes sports games, that nerd.
And who makes sports games?
EA Sports.
The indie
It's in the
company
game.
EA.
Nintendo made that Mario soccer game on the Wii.
That's actually my favorite
Strikers.
game.
I never
Yeah,
played any of those
Strikers.
games.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
I remember they had a demo. You remember they used to have that area at the airport and by the food court where it was like a kids area, and they had like a GameCube set up with Mario Strikers there, and I played that a lot.
Oh, I never knew that.
I didn't
was a
fly
thing.
enough to.
Did you go to the airport just to play it?
Went through security. I need to play it.
I thought the box art for that game, I thought it was a motorcycle game because it looks like Mario's riding a motorcycle in it. I thought that's what Strikers.
Isn't he
was
kicking
all
a
about.
soccer ball?
Yeah, he's
in it?
kicking a soccer ball, but it looks like he's riding a motorcycle. I don't know why, but it does. To me,
So
anyways.
is that the podcast for today?
That's it.
Is that what we've got?
Yeah, I guess we're wrapping it up then.
Well, as always, thank you for joining us. Since we talked about Pokemon for such a long time, thank you to our friends at Fandom Wire for coming by on Friday and helping us out with the stream, sponsoring that whole event. We had some friends from Fandom Wire here, Max and Chris, who were a lot of fun to have. I was only here for like 20 minutes, but the stream was really fun. Thank you to you guys for joining us. Thank you to Sandshrew for being the 27th Pokemon for his 27th episode. As always, we've been Live Connection. Check us out on our various social medias, and we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Bye.